Being 5:15, I'd like to call Thursday, December 18th, Planning Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call is taken. Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Jason, seconded by Susie. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion's carried. Looking for a motion to approve the approval of the October 30th, 2025 Planning Commission minutes as read in your packet.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made by Susie, seconded by Donna. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion's carried. Any public comment? Seeing none, move on to item number 5. Be the site plan review for the addition at 405 West Wolf River Avenue, which would be Hilker Warehousing.
Mr. Hilker approached me about wanting to put a 6,800 square foot addition on an existing building that he has there that he's welding in. We did have an issue with the elevations on that, and the architect allowed for the elevation rise to meet the flood standards for that property, and I believe everything is in order. And I'm recommending approval of the site plans of the construction.
Can you elaborate on the elevation stuff? What was the hang up there?
The code that we have in place requires that they be 2 foot above regional flood for that. So we met with the city attorney, Chad, and myself, kind of discussed that, see if we could work around it. It wasn't so. Willing to update the plans to accommodate for the height. So they've created a couple ramps inside to transition to that to meet the minimum height requirement.
Okay, that was per city code then, not DNR?
Yes, yeah.
City code that's been adopted via DNR, regulations.
Got it.
In-
All right.
in conjunction. So the existing building was obviously old and below what the current standards are.
Could you just explain a little bit what they're doing? I mean, I'm a little confused on the maps and as
It's
to,
a welding shop.
okay,
They're
add
just-
it
They're
to,
just growing. Yep,
okay.
so they're gonna add on to the existing building to give them more room to,
Alright.
for production.
And here, we'll give you an aerial so you can kind of see
yeah,
where that's at. So here, warehousing right on the river. Dave, correct me if I'm
Okay.
wrong.
Yep,
It's the
that's the
structure right
building.
here,
Yep.
and they're
going-
adding.
Correct,
west.
yep, going that way.
okay,
So you see that right here.
There's
It's
quite a
backwards, but
bit of building plans there, a lot of it doesn't really pertain to what we're looking at. But the elevations is obviously in our ordinance
Okay.
as it deals with plan commission and size, setbacks and so on. He's met all the other criteria.
The reason why I asked about the elevation, I've been asked several times about other projects as well as this one. Why we make them have that elevation, and understanding that it is conjunction with our code. They're coming back and telling me that DNR tells them that they don't care, they can build it without that elevation.
Yeah, we haven't shown that wetland that we.
Absolutely, I just wanted to clear that
Yep.
up.
Yep, on residential properties, they've got to be 2 foot above regional flood, then you have a portion of the building, including furnaces, water heaters, and all that. And then these more industrial lots, they have to be at or slightly above, obviously. The minimum's at floodplain. So they're 3 inches above regional flood for that site.
Was that extending towards the river at all? Or is that just gonna be
No,
even
It's
with
not
that?
approaching anymore toward-
Okay.
it's just continuing out of that. They got plenty of room maneuver their trucks through there. They had to abandon unused gas line. That was a little hectic, but they just completed that recently, so they're all set to go.
Now there's FEMA and DNR floodplain maps, and everybody's heard about that. And, you know, there's flood fringe and there's floodway and things like that. Even though the DNR might say it's our decision, it's based off of their information. And what's interesting is Dave and I had a conversation with a zoning person from the Outagamie County, and they went through a process recently that they got audited by it was either FEMA or DNR, I can't remember who. And they were, because the county is in conjunction with the township, so there's a lot of overlapping things going on there. But they were finding things that were not done correctly, and there was some boo-boos going on and some not things that we don't want to get into. We don't want to get a situation where we're allowing things get audited and be in the wrong. So yeah, we have to comply with these things.
Yeah, we didn't want to put Tom in a position where they came in and told him no, and they're doing that in the county. So we, like I said, I met with the attorney to see if there was any kind of workaround. There just wasn't. And I did speak up to the DNR, and he kind of explained how our ordinance worked. He actually looked up our ordinance, explained how that works.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, is there any more questions on this? Okay, we'll move along to number 6, which is
Yeah, we need to take an action. Either.
Okay. Looking for a motion to accept plan review for the addition for 405 West Wolf River Avenue.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Motion was made by Mark, seconded by Susie. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is presentation of the new draft zoning ordinance in map zone. So turn this over to that. Okay, it says the next item on the agenda is presentation review of the proposal draft zone ordinance and zone map. Our consultant Ben Rule of Vandy Wall and Associates will provide a presentation and a quick recap on how we get here. Ben?
Thank you. Good to see you all. I apologize I wasn't able to make it in person tonight. I feared the ice storm might be a little bit too much, but I appreciate the accommodation to be able to join you all this evening. Obviously, you all are familiar with the process as to how we got here. Wanted to provide a brief recap and before we open the public hearing, and then ultimately seek from you all potential recommendation this evening. So this meeting is a little bit different than what we've done in the past, where it's been more workshop format. Today is more of the formal format in relationship to potentially taking action. So I will do a summary presentation. We'll hold the public hearing, and then we'll consider 2 resolutions, one for the zoning ordinance, and then the second for the zoning map. If there are any individual changes requested by the Plan Commission or the public associated with this evening's meeting, and those will need to be a separate motion, second, and vote on those changes prior to seeking that motion, second, and vote on the entirety of the ordinance and the map. So in reflection of how we got here, this is the culmination of an 18-month process. This will be the 10th Plan Commission meeting associated with this project. Throughout the last 6 weeks, we've had the public review period. So this has included the online opportunity where all of the materials lived on the website for people to view, in addition to the November 17th public open house. After today's meeting, there will be 2 more steps associated with the process, and that will include at the city council level, the first reading, and then the second reading and adoption. So in reflection of what we heard from the public input, wanted to provide you a brief recap. So I saw many of you in attendance at the public open house on November 17th. We had approximately 15 to 20 people that attended that event in that room that you all are in. This offered an opportunity to have individual conversations, ask questions, review the materials, and then hear a summary presentation. Now, that summary presentation was live streamed, but also posted on the website directly following that meeting with all of the materials. So there was that online review period, like I had previously mentioned. So throughout that period, there were no additional comments provided to city staff via online, email, or phone. The comments that were received were directly in person during that public hearing, or the public open house, I should say. So there were a couple of changes, relatively minor in nature, but we wanted to call those out to your attention because those are differences from the drafts that you looked at 6 weeks ago. So when we're talking about the zoning ordinance text and the changes that were made that have been incorporated within the document that you have before you today, those include minor typos, formatting, and reference errors. So myself and city staff went through the text and found a couple of these and made those changes. What you'll also notice is that we were using the title Chapter 620 throughout this process. And the reason for that was we intended to have the full municipal code recodified and restructured to reflect new chapter orientation outline. However, that recodification has not fully happened up to this point. So we need to adopt the ordinance as Chapter 17. The solution that we came up with was calling this Chapter 17-620. So ultimately, when that recodification takes place, all you'll have to do is strike 17 and all of the references will be reflected of the way that they should be after that takes place. Additionally, within the code, there are several references to other municipal code chapters. From the onset of this process, we use the recodified structure in orientation of those references. However, since that recodification has not taken place, similar to the item above, we needed to revert those references to the existing structure. So what that'll mean is later on down the road, when you do complete the recodification of the municipal code, you'll need to go back to the zoning ordinance and make those updates. Finally, we had the city attorney review the document and provide his comments. Those were directly related to Article 10, the administration and procedures section. We inherently wanted him to focus on this because that's sort of the most legally sort of binding component of this in terms of process and reflection of state statutes, whatnot. So we had some very minor clarification and formatting changes come from that review that have been reflected in the code text. In totality, wanted to note that we did not provide a red line version to you of every individual change because we, as city staff and myself, had the opinion that these were relatively minor adjustments to the code. And so we wanted to provide a summary so you are aware of them, but they did not warrant a substantive conversation related to a policy change or an approach change. Additionally, there are a couple of zoning map changes that have occurred on the document that you have in your packet. So this we'll start with 310 West Wolf River Avenue. This is a parcel you all are familiar with. It was combined over the last year and a project has been approved for this site. However, because that happened simultaneously with us developing the map, we noticed when we did our final review of the map that those parcels were still shown as two separate and had two separate zoning districts on them. So what we did with the change is reflect a singular parcel that has been approved in addition to neighborhood mixed use zoning. That would be the district that's applied to this entire property. And that would be reflective of the approved project, the mixed use project that you all approved earlier this year. So that would enable that project to continue and take place. So more or less, this is just a clarification and a correction of an error. Moving a little bit east down to 317 East Wolf River Avenue. This was a property owner request that was fielded via city staff. This property was shown on the draft as light industrial. That is reflective of the existing zoning of industrial today. As you can see, that kind of sticks out in respect to the other zoning in this area. The property owner request was for neighborhood mixed use. This would enable a couple of different options moving forward. That would include standalone residential, standalone commercial, or a combination mixed use type component. And so we reviewed this together, myself and city staff. Following the request, we felt comfortable with it in reflection of what we were trying to do throughout this process. And that has been reflected as neighborhood mixed use on the draft zoning map you have before you today. And then finally, adjacent or just directly east of the brand new Aldi grocery store are three platted parcels that are currently vacant, undeveloped. This is a developing area of the community. It was originally shown on the previous version of the draft zoning map as corridor mixed use in red. However, the property owner has requested mixed residential high density to enable a future multifamily development on this property. As you can see in the configuration of the two screenshots, this development pattern is pretty common in this area, where you see the corridor mixed use along the frontage of Shawano versus having the multifamily behind that in configuration of the pattern along the entirety of the corridor. We felt comfortable with this change as well, and that has been reflected on the draft zoning map that you have before you. So finally, this concludes my summary presentation. We'll have the public hearing, and then we'll have a discussion on any other questions, comments, or potential changes that you have. This would be the culmination of the Plan Commission's role in this process. However, it would not be the final step. That would include, like I indicated before, the City Council first reading, which is planned to occur on January 20th, and the City Council second reading and adoption, which is planned to occur on February 17th. With that said, I appreciate the opportunity this evening to present and to work with you all throughout this process. I'll turn it back over to Plan Commission Chair to open up the public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing to allow public input on a proposed new zoning ordinance and map. Please come up to the microphone so we can hear your comments when you come up. Please state your name and address. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. A clock will be provided to you on the screen to assist you. If you have any questions, ask them, and we'll answer those at the end of the public hearing. Start off with first, we'll read off any comments that have been submitted prior to the meeting. Chad, do you have any comments that were submitted prior to the meeting?
We have no comments that have been submitted prior to the meeting.
Okay. Is there any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move along to the next agenda item.
Bernie, I would just ask 3 times that you ask for public comments. We know
Is there
there's
any
nobody here, but
public comment? Is there any public comment? Last call, is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move along to the next item on the agenda.
Close the public hearing first.
yes.
Oh, at this time, I'll close the public hearing at 5:33. We now move into discussion of a resolution recommended to adopt and draft zoning ordinance. We will start with the draft zoning ordinance, and in the next agenda item, we will separate addresses the zoning map. So at this time, are there any comments, additional questions, or changes that the commission would like to see regarding the zoning ordinance?
Any questions, any changes, any thoughts, any questions on the amendments that we just brought up tonight? I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but now's the opportunity to have the commission provide input and feedback and ask questions of Ben right here too, so.
Okay, see, no comments questions? I make a motion to approve the resolution that council consider an ordinance adopting a newly proposed zoning ordinance, including changes approved tonight, if any.
So Bernie made a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion was been made by me, seconded by Susie. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, next item on the agenda, we'll now move into the discussion of the resolution recommending the adoption of the draft zone map. So at this time, are there any comments, additional questions, or changes to the commission would like to see regarding the zoning map? Any questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution that the council consider an ordinance adopting the newly proposed zoning map, including changes approved tonight, if any.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion's been made by me, seconded by Jay. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion's carried.
Wonderful. I want to thank the commission, or the commission. It's been a long process. Like Ben said, it was 18 months. So we had a lot of reading, a lot of conversation with this, and I want to thank everybody's time and efforts with that process. So, and I want to thank Ben too. He was a great help and really did a great job guiding us in this entire process. So thanks, Ben, for that. But like Ben said, this will be going on to council now for the ordinance consideration as well. Ben, any last comments before we move on?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you just said, Chad. I enjoyed working with you all. I think what we've developed is a really great code that's reflective of what we were trying to accomplish and moves us in the right direction to reflect the goals of the comprehensive plan. And so I appreciate the time and effort everyone put into this process. And I think we should all be proud of the product we have at the end of the day here. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, review upcoming agenda items.
Nothing official.
Okay, there's nothing on the agenda for the next meeting. Review next meeting date, tentatively January 22nd, 2026. Is that all good for everybody? Okay, looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. And I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made by Donna, second by Susie. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, planning commission meeting